Hello everyone, welcome back. Alright, so this is the video that I said I would make after I completed my contract, and I will talk about the pros and cons of working with an agency. So I finished my contract about a month ago, and honestly I wanted to make the video as soon as my contract was finished, like probably the next day, but it didn't really work out like that. I finished, I think my last day was the 24th of January, and I took the rest of that week. Then the following Sunday I went home to Jamaica, saw my family, saw my friends, had a great time, got some sun, and I'm back in the US now. Actually, probably 2 weeks. In 2 weeks time I'll be going back to work, so I actually just decided to do this video before I go back to work. So let's get into it. I've actually gotten a lot of message from persons, because I was like, am I going to do the video? Do I want to do a video? But because I said I would do it, and persons actually keep messaging me and asking, when I'm going to do it, so I just decided that I'm going to do it. But first, all right, let me talk about something. I realize that there are quite a few persons that don't really understand how the program works, because persons will message me and they ask, being that I'm finished, if I finally got my green card, and they ask like how much I had to pay the agency and stuff like that. So let me explain. First things first, your green card. You get your green card shortly after you get into the US. So I came November 2019, and I think my green card came in the mail like the December. Yeah, late December, maybe early January. So it's not when you finish your contract you get your green card. The green card is sent to you within 180 days of you entering the US. So it's not like, oh, you have to work a 2-year contract, be finished with everything for them to send your green card. That's not how it works. Also, for persons asking how much I had to pay the agency, let me explain this to you. So when the agency recruits you and you do your job interview and you get through with whichever hospital, the hospital is not the person. Well, the hospital sends the agency the job offer for you, but the agency will send you like how much you're going to be paid per hour, the shift differentials, if you get paid for being in charge and stuff like that. So your contract comes from the agency. If your contract from the agency says they're going to pay you $10 per hour, that is what you're going to get. So how the agency gets paid, the hospitals contract the agencies to find staff for them. So when they do that, the hospitals pay the agencies. So for instance, well, you won't know what the contract that goes on between the agency and the hospital. But say for instance, they're paying you $10 per hour, chances are the hospital pays them like $50 per hour for you. So you just working at the hospital and working on your contract, they get paid. So you're not, so if they said, okay, they're going to pay you $10 per hour, it's not like it's it's not like it's $10 per hour for them. It's not like it's $10 per hour and then they're going to take like $2 or $3 from it. They're already getting their pay. Okay, so let's get into the pros and the cons, which is the basis of this video. Okay, so to be honest, overall, I have nothing bad to say about my agency and working with them. It was overall a good experience. So I can't bash them for anything. I can't say they're a terrible agency. Certainly not. And I'm truly grateful for the opportunity that they gave me. But things to note. All right. When, for most persons that have actually started the process, you'll know for certain, like when you have exam prep or anything pre-NCLEX, the communication with the representative from the agency, it's extensive. Like you'll hear from them every day, multiple times per day, because if it's documents to submit, they want you to submit on time. Getting ready for NCLEX, they want you to do everything that you're supposed to do in a timely manner. So they keep on you with stuff like those. Once communication tends to lap when it gets to the USCIS part, that's where they actually start the filing process for you. And when you get into the US, you get a community liaison, and this is with my agency, because other agencies, I think, meet in Florida and they probably spend a month down there and do other stuff. But with my agency, which is a Greater Pain International, you have a community liaison that will take you around to banks, get a cell phone, probably help you move into your apartment if you have your apartment already and stuff like that. So they're with you for 3 days. And after that, actually, once you start your contract, they actually have persons that check up on you every 2 weeks. So we had, one is a clinical support specialist and one is like a community support specialist. So like one person will help with anything related to your assignments at the hospital, and then one person is supposed to help with anything community related or pay related, anything that's not clinical. And they literally call you every 2 weeks. So that was good, knowing that you had that support. But this was the drawback with having these persons that I really realized. They're calling to check up on you because that is their job, but they're not very helpful, to be honest. So like they call, "Hey Tanisha, how are you doing? This is da 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 from da 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 da. I was just checking to make sure that everything is okay with you and blah blah blah." Once everything is okay, it's fine because it's just a conversation. But I remember one particular time I had an issue and I spoke to the person and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to get some information and I'm going to get back to you." Then 2 weeks later, when they call again, it was the same thing. "Hi Tanisha, this is whatever from da 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 agency. Just checking to make sure that you're okay." And I was like, "But I told you I was having this problem, and I thought that, when you get back to me, you were going to come back with a solution." But then I realized literally they just call because it's their job to call every 2 weeks. So that was one thing. Then if you're having an issue at the hospital, just know that the hospitals come first with the agencies. So my experience was really good with my placement. That I can say I did not have a problem with my placement. But I'm aware of persons who were having terrible experiences at the hospitals that they were placed, and they literally tried every single thing to reach out to the agency to see if it's a reassignment was possible, or to have a word with the manager for the floor or something like that, just to let them know that, okay, look, I'm your employee, you have to look out for me, or have some say in whatever happens. But literally nothing happened. The only case that I'm aware of, or I know of a couple cases where persons got reassigned, and they only got reassigned because the hospitals had an issue with them. So if the hospital has an issue with you as the nurse, reassignment is possible. If you have an issue with the hospital, chances are they're not going to reassign you. But guys, bear in mind, it's just 2 years. 2 years and 3 months. And then after that, and that's with O'Grady, it's 4,160 hours. And after that 2 years and 3 months, you are literally free to do whatever and work wherever you want to. So it's okay to just hang in there. Another thing, information wise, there are certain things that we need to know when you're coming to the US that the agency can't really provide. The biggest of it being about health insurance. So I've been here 2 years and some now, and the biggest mystery for me has been health insurance, and I've contacted the agency to get more information about things that I need, and they don't know. And just generally, persons here don't really know a lot about health insurance. They just tend to say, oh, it's so complicated. But I understand that it's complicated, but still, I need an understanding of it. So the agencies are not very equipped to answer like health insurance questions, to be honest. And one visit to the hospital here can run you bankrupt, literally. You'll be seeing numbers, you're wondering like, what currency are we talking about here? So my advice, do like a complete physical before you leave your country. Make sure that everything is in order, just so you don't have to come here to do a routine visit to a doctor. Because even routine visits here that should be technically free with health insurance, they tend to complicate that. And what happens, you go to the doctor's office and they say, oh, you don't owe anything, and then you get a bill in the mail. That happened to me, but it's fine, it's all worked out. There were a few other things that I had written down to talk about, but I lost my paper. As I said, I was on vacation. Okay. Also, all right, when you migrate at the hospitals, you're a contract staff. Most times when they hear contract staff, they think about travelers, because we're similar to travelers in that we're not paid as much and our contracts are a lot longer. So the average travel contract is like 8 or 13 weeks, or is 2 years, 3 years. So the regular staff, they're not sure like if you're contract, if you're core. You need to know the difference for yourself, because when it's convenient, these managers tend to take advantage of you and want to treat you like core staff. But when other things related, they want to let you remember that you're contract staff. I'll give you an example. All right, so when like generally on the floor, they're like, oh, we treat you guys like our core staff, everything correlated. So our floor, our hospital, you're required to work so the schedule is done like every 6-week period. So in every 6-week period, you're supposed to do an extra day. So you're supposed to have 2 weeks where you work 4 days. So that's the rule for their core staff. When we just came, of course we did it because it wasn't a problem for me. Doing the overtime, getting the extra money, it works out. But I remember this time, like, we were just being floated all the time. So I was like, why am I doing overtime just to be floated everywhere? So I just decided, okay, I was just going to do my 36 hours and just that for the day. So if you want to float me everywhere during those 3 days that I'm required to work per my contract, that's fine. But I was just not going to be doing overtime. And of course, it caused an issue with the management on my floor, they were like, it's required of their core staff to do the 2 extra shifts. And they're like, we've been treating you guys like core staff this entire time. And I was like, fine, I understand that. But at the end of the day, I am not a core staff and I'm contract, and my contract says 36 hours, but it's just that this last year, because it was even over a year at the time, I didn't have a problem doing it, simply because you had that rule, but I could work with it. But it wasn't for my contract. It wasn't a part of my contract. And of course, had to get O'Grady involved, and the clinical support specialist wanted to be like, so are they doing it to their core staff? Like, and I was like, yes, but I'm not their core staff. And of course, it took a little bit, but it got settled, and they said, okay, we can do our 3 days and that's it. If you want to do overtime, fine. Then there was another issue when, because in the height of COVID, incentive pays were like running everywhere. And of course, core staff gets their incentive whenever they pick up an incentive shift. That did not apply to us. So, brought it to them. So, we've been here for a while, and we work pretty good on the floors. It would be nice if we could qualify for incentives. And they made it clear that incentive is for core staff. So you see, when it was convenient to say we are like core staff to do the extra shift, then when the incentive applies, it's like, remember, you're not core staff. So you have to know for yourself, look, this is what my contract says. This is what I am entitled to. This is what I'm obligated to do. And doing this, I'm not breaching my contract in any way. So it's really about knowing your rights. And you don't have to be rude with anything. And you don't have to be rude to anyone. It's just knowing what is right and what is not. So that was from a personal experience. So, and you will have things like those. But as I said, my placement was good. It was even so good, I'm actually staying at my hospital. I'm staying on for a while, I think. I'm staying on for a little bit. So that's where I'll be returning to work. But yeah, that is it, guys. I don't want to be extra long with this video. I just wanted to let you guys know that, okay, there are pros and there are cons. But at the end of the day, believe me, it is still worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You get an amazing experience. The pay is a lot better. And after 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, based on whatever agency you're using, you're free to work wherever you want to. Because I have friends now going into travel nursing. Oh, something else I didn't tell you guys. So, if you start your contract and you decide that you don't want to complete your contract, you have the option to buy out your contract. It's different with each agency, but I did a little research with mine. So if shortly after you've started, maybe a month or 2 in, and you want to buy out your contract, you're probably looking at about $50,000. 50,000 US dollars. As the time progresses, like within the first year, it may go down some. If you're halfway through your contract, which is like a year in, and you want to buy out, it's 30,000. I actually know someone who bought out their contract at a year in, and it was 30,000. So the more you work, it lessens the amount you have to pay if you want to buy out your contract. And most persons will say, why would you pay so much? But say for instance, like now, when you have a lot of travel nurse contracts around, travel nurses are making ridiculous amounts of money. So if you pay 30,000 to buy out your contract, you make that in a couple months. You make it back in a couple months. probably the first contract after you leave your primary job, you make that back. So it works out. It's not for everybody, but it's an idea. So bear that in mind, guys. But yes, thank you for tuning in, and I want to thank you guys for the support, because I am terrible at posting videos. But like every day I have a couple more subscribers, so that's the motivation to do it whenever I do it. But still, yes, I want to say thank you guys for the continued support. I don't know when after this I'm going to upload another video, but anything comes to me, I'll definitely share it with you guys. So thanks for watching. Bye.